Complex sentences. You will be learning all about them in this show. Subordinate conjunctions and subordinate clauses, also known as dependent conjunctions and dependent clauses. You will be learning all about them in today's video. Compound and complex sentences. That is another thing. You will be an expert in these subjects after watching this video. You'll be spouting off compound and complex sentences like a student possessed, I tell you. Trust me. It all means the same thing, okay? They're subordinate, right? Subordinate, dependent, subordinating. It all boils down to the same thing, okay? Don't think for 1 minute that these are all different. They're all the same. Subordinate, subordinating, dependent, conjunctions, clauses, it's all the same thing, right? Subordinate conjunctions and subordinate clauses. That is what we're looking at today. Right. In the last lesson, we discussed coordinating clauses and coordinating conjunctions. Don't get confused, by the way, by these long words. It's all quite simple. It will all become clear. These are the coordinating conjunctions. Okay? Right? These are the subordinate conjunctions. As you can see, there's quite a lot of them, isn't there? There's quite a lot of them. Obviously, we can't go through every single subordinate conjunction today because it would take forever. But we'll certainly give you a good idea of how it's done and what it all means, right? Now, the first thing you've got to remember about subordinate conjunctions and clauses is they are dependent on a main clause, okay? The clauses are dependent, subordinate clauses are dependent on a main clause, okay? And we'll show you this example here. Right. After I have been to work, I am going to enjoy myself in town. Okay? After I have been to work, I am going to enjoy myself in town. Now just have a look at this little trick here. I am going to enjoy myself in town after I have done all my work. Right? Looking at that there, you'd think that is a simple sentence. Well, it's not. There are two clauses there. Now this is what you can do with subordinate conjunctions, but you can't do with coordinating conjunctions, right? You can lead with the subordinate clause, right? So you can say, after I have done all my work, comma, I am going to enjoy myself in town. You see how we've turned it around? Let's turn it back to how it was before. You see? We're moving the clause. You can't do that with a coordinating conjunction. Alright? We are moving it so it sounds better. After I have done all my work, I am going to enjoy myself in town. Right. Now, very important that we remember where to put the comma there. It comes after the clause, okay? Not after the subordinate conjunction, which is after, okay? After I have done all my work, comma, you can say this how, whatever way you want to. I am going to enjoy myself in town. I am going to have a really good time in town. I am going to meet up my friends in town. I am going to the cinema. Right? So let's try another one here. As. As. It is indeed a subordinate conjunction. Alright? John deserves a break as he has worked hard for a long time. Right? Remember? As he has worked hard for a long time, comma, John deserves a break. Okay, John deserves a break is the main sentence, is the main clause rather, sorry, is the main clause. And the other one there, of course, that is subordinate because that cannot stand alone by itself. Right? Because when you think about it, when you say, as John has worked hard, right, imagine putting that as a sentence. As John has worked hard. You're thinking, well, what about it? It's an unfinished sentence, isn't it? As John has worked hard. It is dependent on the main clause. Kate is next in line for promotion as she has been here the longest. Kate is next in line for promotion as she has been here the longest. Again, it's like doing a sort of back to front trick with the with the sentence, right? Leading with the subordinate clause, which is, and I've forgotten where it is, as she has been here the longest. Okay, let's change it again. Let's put, as she has worked for this company for the longest time, Kate is next in line for promotion. Right? Kate is next in line for promotion is the main clause. Right? And that one there is the subordinate. Very, very important to put your comma after the clause and not after the subordinate conjunction. Right, let's move on to before. you'll recognise the word before. Before. Before I go out, I'm having something to eat. In fact, let's go with that one. Before I go out, comma, I'm having something to eat. I'm having something to eat can stand alone as a sentence, but before I go out cannot. Before I go out. Imagine writing that as a sentence. Before I go out. Pardon? What are you whittering on about? Exactly. It is dependent. It needs help from the main clause. You could say a subordinating clause plus a coordinating clause makes up a complex sentence. Or you could say it like this. You could sort of do a little sort of mathematical description for it if you like. Right? You could say that. Right? That is what we mean by a complex sentence. Now, before, of course, is an adverb of time, and it still is an adverb of time when used in these sentences. Okay? We will have something to eat before we go to church. We will have something to eat before we go to church. Before we go to church, comma, we will have something to eat. We will have something to eat before we go to church. You don't have to put a comma there. Right? But you do when you're leading with the subordinate conjunction, because the sentence doesn't make any sense without it. Let's have a quick look, very quick look at a coordinating sentence, right? Coordinating, don't forget, both clauses are of equal importance. Just picture it like a seesaw, right? I am working in the house and John is working in the garden. Both clauses there are of equal importance. That is a compound sentence. Both these clauses can stand alone as sentences, right? They can stand alone as sentences, which is absolutely fine. Now, don't forget, when you're using a subordinate clause, then it's different, right? The seesaw sort of goes like this, right? As I have been here all day. I decided to go out at night time. Right? That was dependent, you see. As I have been here all day, I decided to go out at night time. Now your seesaw is level. Right? The dependent clause was supported by the independent clause. Once again, do not forget that dependent means exactly the same thing as subordinate. Okay? Don't forget that a subordinate clause must have a subject and a verb, exactly the same as coordinating clauses. Okay? Got to have a subject and a verb to be a clause. Subject and a verb. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, what happens when we do this? I am not going out today because it is raining. Well, surely that's one of these coordinating thingies. I'm not going out today. Does that stand alone as a sentence? Of course it does. It is raining. Does that stand alone as a sentence? Of course it does. But what you've got to remember is this, and it's very, very important. Why is it important? Well, it's important because, you've got to remember, when you are adding a subordinate, or it's also known as subordinating conjunction, to a clause, it comes as a package, okay? It comes as a package. So let's go back to that one again. I cannot go out because it's raining, or because it's raining I cannot go out. You see? You see? It comes together. Because it is raining. Because it is raining. It's a total block, okay? Because it is raining. And because it is raining cannot stand alone as a clause. Sorry, it cannot stand alone as a sentence, can it? Because it is raining. Right? Because it is raining. You're like, hey? What about it, you're thinking? Exactly, exactly. I am not going out because it is raining. It has been explained. So, it is raining stands alone. That is a coordinating clause. Because it is raining is a subordinate clause. Alright? So when you're adding a subordinate conjunction, right, it must, right, it's all together, right, it's different to the coordinating ones. I mean, you remember the coordinating ones when we said, I am feeling really tired, so I'm going to bed. I am going to bed, I'm feeling really tired. It's a compound sentence. You could also put your little semicolon in there, right? I'm feeling really tired, semicolon, I am going to bed. Right? That's coordinating. That's different to subordinate. And don't forget also, I am not going out because it is raining is a complex sentence. I am not going out because it is raining is a complex sentence. It is raining, main clause, sorry, I am not going out is main clause, because it is raining is subordinate, it's dependent, it needs help from the main clause. If you finish your homework, you can watch TV. Try turning that one around. Can you do it? You can watch TV if you finish your homework. Alright? They both mean the same thing. It doesn't matter which way you write this sentence. It means the same thing. It's a bit like getting to the crux of the matter, you see. It's giving you poetic license. It's giving you a chance to write a sentence the way you want to write it, right? Now that I have passed my exam, I can think about further education. And again, turn it around, back to front. I can think about further education now that I have passed my exam. Now that you're here, we can start to enjoy ourselves. Okay, so that there is a two-worded subordinate conjunction. Now that you're here, we can really start to enjoy ourselves. We can really start to enjoy ourselves now that you're here. Makes sense as well. Why is this done? What's it all about? It's giving you a license to write English the way you want to write it. And quite often, leading by the subordinate clause, what you're actually doing is you're getting to the crux of the matter, the most interesting part of what you are saying. When. Again, it's an adverb, isn't it? It's an adverb of time. When I see you, I will give you a list of instructions. I will give you a list of instructions when I see you. Alright, I think you're just about getting the hang of this now. In fact, you are. I can tell you are. And of course, when can be used in a simple sentence as well. Okay? When will I see you next? That's an interesting one, isn't it? Next. Next. What kind of word is that? Is that a preposition? Is it an adjective? Is it an adverb of time? Well, it can be all three, can't it? It can be all three. Next can be all three. When I see you next is an adverb of time. You know that because you can move it around. When I next see you. When I see you next. When I next see you. Means the same thing. You can move it around. It's an adverb of time. I am next to the wall. Preposition. I am next to the wall. The next word on the list. The next word on the list. Next there is an adjective. Next word. And a lot of words in English are like this, you know. It can be a little bit confusing. But when you think about it, it all makes sense really. Right? Now what happens when we've got three words here? Now, you saw that from the list, didn't you? As soon as. Remember that one? As soon as. As soon as you come home, we'll go out. As soon as you come home, we'll go out. We'll go out as soon as you come home. You see, it just works exactly the same way. I would have won that race if only I had ran faster. I would have won that race if only I had ran faster. If only I had ran faster, I would have won that race. So, that is a very important thing. You've got to remember that a sentence, right? A sentence is like a little mini story, right? Obviously, with what we've discussed here, subordinate conjunctions and clauses, subordinate sentences, that there's expanding on it. Compound sentences, two sentences becoming one, or three sentences becoming one, right? Telling a story, telling a little mini story. A paragraph is expanding on that story, right? If you're writing a book, a chapter is expanding further on that story. Compound and complex sentences, right? It means exactly what it says on the tin, doesn't it? It means exactly what it says, right? That's what it is. It's a compound sentence, and it's also complex because we have got a subordinate clause in the sentence. Right, let's start off with the subordinate clause. If John can cover my shift at work, right, I can go to the cinema and Kate can go shopping. Okay? You notice the compound sentence there. Let's try another one. Once you have came round for tea, I will take you to town and Kate will show you the nightlife. I will take you to town, Kate will show you the nightlife. Compound sentence there, joined together by the coordinating conjunction and. Okay, let's have another compound and complex sentence example. Provided you are on time, you can relax with Steve and you can learn English with me. Okay, and that there is an example of another example of a compound complex sentence. Provided you arrive on time. You see, that cannot stand alone. And again, you could do a little trick that you could put the subordinate clause at the end, couldn't you? So it ends with provided you arrive on time. You get it? As soon as he comes over, we can go out and enjoy ourselves. There we have it, using a three-worded subordinate conjunction here. As soon as he comes over, we can go out and enjoy ourselves. As soon as he comes over, comma, we can go out and enjoy ourselves. Right? And don't forget, after and it says enjoy yourselves. So therefore that is not a coordinating clause. Enjoy ourselves. Okay, enjoy ourselves. That's part of a simple sentence there. Okay, so only got one clause. Right? So that there is a complex sentence. That there isn't a compound and complex sentence. Because to be a compound and complex sentence, you need to have a compound sentence with coordinating clauses, which both these clauses must have a subject and a verb, and you've also got to have a subordinate clause as well. Okay, so here is another example of a compound and complex sentence. Okay, now that I have this book, I can learn more about English, but I will also need a dictionary. Okay, now that I have this book, which is a thesaurus, that's a great book to have. Now that I have this book, I can learn more about English. And then you can say, but I will also need a dictionary. Right? And now it is the big quiz. Okay, 20 questions, all about the subjects I have been explaining today. Subordinate conjunctions, or subordinating conjunctions, subordinate clauses, compound and complex sentences. Complex sentences. Right? I hope I have brushed away the mystery of the whole subject for you. 20 questions for you. And I hope you do very well. Try and get about the 18, try and hit the sort of 18, 19 out of 20 mark here. And that will show that you have understood this subject well. The next video will be a video about punctuation and participle phrases. Now there's something to look forward to. Good luck in the quiz, and I'll see you later on. Bye!